Hey guys, this is going to be a review of All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. The story follows two fairly young kids over the course of several years, one French girl living in Paris and the other an orphan German boy living in a group home with his younger sister. The girl is named Marie and she is blind. Her father is a lockmaster at the National Museum of History in Paris, where they both spend most of their days. Since Marie is blind, her father teaches her how to navigate the city, specifically the area surrounding her apartment and the museum, using a model that he himself has built of the city. She loves her father very much. Her father likes to build these complicated little puzzle boxes for Marie to figure out and buys her books, and she loves to read and learns to read in Braille, specifically Jules Verne. One day after the beginnings of the German invasion of Paris, Marie and her father are forced to flee to a town called St. Malo, where her uncle lives by the sea. Before they go off to St. Malo, though, Marie's father is given something by the people of the Natural Museum of History for safekeeping, a jewel called the Sea of Flames, said to make whoever holds it immortal, but also extremely prone to bad looks and just bad things happening around them. But they give it to him for safekeeping. It's extremely valuable, the most valuable thing they have, and there's only one in existence. And they've made 3 other copies of it to send off with others as well, but Marie's father never really knows whether he has the real one or not. In Germany, the boy named Werner and his sister Jutta become fascinated with radio. Jutta just loves to listen. There's a special French program that I find that aims to teach kids science, but Werner becomes more and more interested in the mechanics of it. He learns to fix radios and stuff like that, other electronics, until one day his abilities are noticed by officials at an elite military academy, which Werner gets to go to for free. Basically, he's just enlisted into the Hitler Youth. Jutta doesn't want to see him go and has a hard time forgiving him for leaving, even though if he had stayed when he got older, all he would have had to look forward to was working in a mine. And this way he can actually explore his talents. We follow, for the most part, Marie in St. Malo and Werner at his military academy as the years pass and the war grows ever closer to both of them. And we get alternating chapters throughout the entirety of the book. Marie and then Werner back and forth with a few bits and pieces of other characters like this German lieutenant who's in charge of looking for precious items, specifically the Sea of Flames jewel. The chapters are extremely short. Most are only 1 or 2 pages, 6 or 7 at the very most, which I really loved a lot. I really like how we come in and out of these little vignettes of things happening with these 2 kids. You may think it's not enough time to spend with each of them, but because there are so many chapters, we really get a lot. And we start off with a quick intro to the characters in 1944, and then almost immediately go back 10 years to 1934. And then we go back to 1944 for a very short amount of time, then to 1944 a while, then back to 1944, then to 1941, and so on. And basically it increases a year or 2 in every other part until those parts catch up to the shorter 1944 parts, which really goes well with the quick switching perspectives and with the writing in general. Anthony Doerr never really spends too much time on one specific subject or situation. He moves us forward or back to the next thing, to the next character's chapter, with this gorgeous writing that may feel a bit labored if the chapters were any longer. And it just kind of bounces out and works really nicely and is beautiful to read, and I just really loved his writing in general. He uses such beautiful, flowing language to describe places and things and feelings and situations, and then just shows us how these characters exist within these settings, living their lives in whatever way they have to, and the writing is just a perfect balance between showing and telling. Overall, I really loved how these character stories just seemed so separated from one another, and seeing over time how they come together, and I just really love the characters. They try really hard to have control over their own lives when the whole world surrounding them forces them to do what they have to do, forces them to do what others want them to do, and what they have to do for themselves and for their loved ones, and for people they don't even know. The stories are very personal, but feel much more vast, like a whole continent depends on what these kids do with themselves, when that's not necessarily the case. This book, the story, the writing, and the characters just all have a whole lot going for it, and I really recommend it to everyone, especially if you love historical fiction. If you love World War II fiction, I definitely suggest reading this if you have not already. I really enjoyed it. It was 5 out of 5 stars for me, and like I said, go pick it up if you have not yet. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you with more very soon.